Hey everyone, this is Suresh. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about content security policy, or in a short, CSP. Web security is one of the main concerns in most of the companies, so they invest a lot of money to protect the web content against the attackers. There are several ways to attack the system. One of them is content injection. Just today we are going to see content security policy through which we can mitigate the content injection attacks. When I say content injection, it can be, the CSP can be used to prevent execution of inline script or dynamic code execution. Then you can control the privilege of applications resources. When I say resources, it can be CSS, image, and JavaScript. So it can be any resource. It can be iframe as well. We should know one thing before we get into the demo, that a CSP is not intended as a first line of defense against content injection vulnerabilities. It can mitigate the content injection, but this is not the ultimate solution. Let's get into the demo. Okay, let's start my server. It has started. It's a simple page. There is nothing fancy in here. Let's look at what I have got. This is my HTML page. I just include one CSS file. That's it. There is nothing in there. Let me add one external JavaScript file. So here I'm adding material designs JS file, and if you look at this domain, it points to some third-party domain. It's not my own domain. So let me save this and go back to this, open my network panel, refresh. You can see here the JS file is downloaded. See 200, the JS file is downloaded. Now there's a third-party JS file. I'm going to block this third-party JS files loading in my domain, means with my content. Let's see here. Whenever there is a request, whenever I serve the document, I need to set a header. The header name is content security policy, and the value. Now which content I am going to secure. In this case, I want to secure my script content, right? The script to the source. So the script, you can, this is called a directive, script source. Then you can mention that, hey, I want to load this policy. I want to tell that I want to load only my own scripts. I don't want to, I don't want the browser to allow other scripts to load whenever I serve my content. So you can say self. Let me restart it. Oh yeah. Okay, now you can see this content is blocked. Do you see here the blocked by CSP? That's the status. And now this JS file is not loaded. What happened here, this is my document request. When it requested from the server, I set the content security policy with this directive. I said that, hey, load only the scripts which all are coming from my domain. That's it. This is coming from some other domain. That's why the browser stopped it. So this is how you protect your content against attackers. Okay, this just in one example. Let's look at some other source also, some other content. How are we going to protect? Let's go here, open up my template file, and I just added one image source, but this image source is going to ghread.me domain. Okay, now when you go to your page and refresh, let me restart the server. When you refresh, you see this image loaded. This image is loaded from third-party domain. It's not coming from example.com. You can see it over here. If you look at it, it's a different domain. If I want to protect this image from loading from some other third-party domain, I can just add one more directive. So each directive is separated by semicolon. I can add another directive called image source, then space, then you can add the value. In this case, I'll just add self. I saved it. I'll just restart my server and I refresh it. Now you can see that the image is blocked. Here you can see this image is blocked by CSP rules, and the rule which I set it, that was sent to the browser, and the browser has read these rules and applied some algorithms to block this image. Okay, so this is how you block the image. If you want the browser to load image from ghread.me, then I can whitelist that. So everything you're going to do is from your response header. Okay, so here you can go and you can just type it in. And you can see it now. I just whitelisted the ghread.me domain as well, so we can load the image from other domain, particularly the ghread.me domain. This is how you control the contents or your application's privilege, okay, to load content. You are using CSP headers to instruct the browsers so that the browser will load accordingly. Now, for example, if you want to experiment some of the rules, okay, so these examples, whatever we have seen so far, in all the cases it just applied and blocked those resources from loading. Okay, in some cases you don't want to block it and you just want to test your CSP rules, putting it in live machine or against a live audience. Then if everything goes fine, then you want to just enable it. Okay, how are we going to do it? It's very simple. Go to your and just change this one to report only header. So when you say report only, this is going to just report. This will not block any of the content. So let me refresh. You can see that same rules. It loaded the JavaScript. It loaded yeah, that is already part of the rule, so leave that. It loaded the JavaScript, though we mentioned in our CSP rule to block the JS. We also mentioned that just report the CSP violations, so don't just block it. So the browser doesn't block, but it will report. Where will it report? Well, you can mention that URL in your header. Now you know that this is applied, and whatever policy you have sent, this is the policy, it has applied. Okay, but from the server side you want to collect the report, right? And the other thing is that you can see it over here. See, if I refresh this one here, say it says the report only mode refuse to load script. So these all are now with the browser, but from the server you want to collect this report, right? For that you can mention URL. You can mention a URL that can be used to used for data submission. The report can be submitted by the browser to that URL. Let's mention that here. Again, semicolon separated. Each directive will be separated by semicolon. That's called report URI. So in the new spec, CSP3 is the latest one. In the CSP3 they say that report URI is deprecated. Instead we should use a report to directive. Also it says that use both for now. Okay, the support is not very good. Report 2 is not supported in Chrome Canary, which I use, but it would be supported. Let me give the URL. So I would give it to my domain which I'm using right now, and CSP report. So what happens, the report will be submitted to this URL. You can see this is the report. The report is collected by the browser and submitted at this URL. I just added the entry point. I don't have the route for this one. That's why it is giving 404. I'll add that in a moment. These are the data which were posted by the browser, and it has a lot of details about the particular error or particular violation. Whenever there is a violation, there will be a post to your report URI. Let me add that entry point. See, now this is submitted, is 200. okay, because I have added that entry point. And we don't see the posted body. Let's see why. That should be request body. Yeah, you can see it now. So there were two violations. Whenever there is a violation, your server will get a posted message. So this is going to be a JSON string, but the content type is different. So whenever the server whenever the browser sends this JSON string, the content type is different. The content type would be something like this. You can see it's application/CSP report. So you should make sure that your server is capturing this content type and response back. And it has a lot of information. If you look at it, we violated script source. We said here you can see that which is the document URI from where this violation happens, and or where this violation happened. Then there's the directive which is violated, and the actual policy would be here. This is the security policy, which we have written to protect our content. Then Disposition would tell you that whether it is a report only mode or the enforce mode. Right now we have added a report only mode. This one is report only, right? That's why it says disposition is telling report, otherwise it would tell enforce. We'll see one example with enforce as well, and it will give you a bunch of information. This is very much useful, so you know that which user's browser is injected with some third-party content, or who is affected. Then you can take action against that. This is how you mitigate your content against content injection attacks, especially XSS attacks are famous. And I think in 2015 that was the third most popular attack in the web world. Let's see some other example. I have just I have added one third-party CSS file, and now I would like to protect I would like to put this one in the report only mode, and the rest of them in the enforcement mode. So what I'm going to do it, I'll change the existing rules to enforce mode, and this one just report only. So again, there's the style source, and I would say load only self CSS resources. And the other thing is that you can have multiple headers. Means you can have the same content security policy header multiple times, but you cannot have same directive in multiple times. So make sure that you follow the standard. Now let me refresh. So you can see that as I have enforced the rules for JS and image, it got blocked. Image, when I say that only data, the other one I have actually enabled it. I have allowed for that domain, that's why it is loading. So for now, JS should be completely blocked if it is being served by the third-party domain. That's what happening here. And what about CSS? For CSS, I did not ask the browser to block it. I just asked the browser to report me back about, if there is any third-party CSS being loaded on with my application. If you go and check your report, you would see that. This script, I don't see it now. Let's see why. Oh, this is, yeah, that's fine. Only content security policy, style source. Image, yeah, it is blocked here. I should be seeing it over here also. Okay, I don't see it. This is blocked, but the report doesn't have the detail. That's what I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, yeah, I got it. So yeah, so for the report only, here also we need to mention the report URI. That's the reason why, because there was no request, so I need to just set this report URI, then we'll get it back. Yeah, you see it now. Script style. Yeah, so for each policy header you have to give the report URI. I have just learned it. Okay, then yeah, and the new CSP3, they say you have to use report to directive instead of report URI. You can use it something like this, so whenever the browser starts supporting it, it will be just used with backward compatibility. These all are good. Let me add some inline script. And see what happens with inline script. Refresh. If you look at it, it doesn't log the message in the console. The reason is that when we say script so self, and it's going to block all the inline scripts as well, unless you specify unsafe inline or a hash. We don't have anything as such here, so there are actually three things you can add. You can add unsafe inline. Let me add and show you. So with this you can add unsafe inline. When you add this directive value, then you would get this. CSP is awesome. That message is logged, but the problem is that anyone can inject the script into this page and execute it. That is definitely unsafe, okay, as the value says. So you don't want to do that. So what you can do is that what you can do here, you can add a nonce and use that value, the unique key in your script. So this should be some some string which cannot be guessed by the attackers. So you can add some encrypted string here, and the same string should be attached to your inline script as well, like this. So now what happens, you send this document, refresh, you are sending this document to the browser, and you are telling that, hey, if the script has this nonce, then load it, otherwise don't load it. Okay, so now you have the control to load the inline script in your application or with your application. I don't see it over here. Okay, that is because of this. Refresh it, so you can see it over here. This is how you control your content in your application. And the other thing is that you should always send unique nonce. for each request, so that it cannot be guessed by the attacker. I hope you have learned something. If you feel that this is useful, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.